It's midnight in the San Francisco International Airport, and I had had a brutal week of working in the Bay Area, and I just couldn't wait to spill myself onto the airplane and sleep all the way across the country. So I treated myself to a first-class ticket. I cashed in some miles. All that was available was a red-eye flight. So I board the flight at midnight. I throw my bag in the bin. I grab a pillow and a blanket, and I curl up against the window, just wanting to fall asleep, when I hear some commotion at the front of the plane, and I hear somebody near me say, "There's a rock star getting on board." So I didn't think much of it until I felt someone settling into the seat next to me. And I kind of squint down, and I see this hand with a skull ring on every finger on top of a cane with a silver skull at the top. And I kind of turned my eyes up to see who it was that was sitting next to me. And I find myself nose to nose with Keith Richards of the Rolling Stones. In fairness, under the lights of the airplane's fluorescent lights at 12 midnight, Keith looked a little bit more like this. But I looked at him, and he gave me this look like, "Don't even think about it." And I thought, okay, I'm exhausted. I'm just going to lay down and sleep anyway. So the plane takes off. All the lights go off on the plane except Keith. This is Keith's time of night. Keith is a party animal. So while everybody else is sleeping, he has the flight attendant hopping and bringing drinks to him all the time. And after a few drinks, I hear this, "I'm Keith." And I went, "All right, nice to meet you." I wake up and "Nice to meet you." And he started chatting, and he turned out to be just a wonderfully charming, engaged, articulate, although it's impossible to understand every other word that he says because his accent is so heavy. And the more drinks you put into them, the less I was getting out of the conversation. But he talked about his love for music and his passion for music and the fact that he would play for nothing and that Mick is just a greedy bastard. I would go out there and play with anybody on any day. And we had a wonderful time chatting. And I learned a lot about him. He's the least pretentious rock star you can possibly imagine. He does it for all the right reasons. By all rights, he should be dead several times over right now, and he even admits that in his autobiography. But really is one of the biggest in the land. So we're flying, and we're about a half an hour outside of JFK, and he says, "Beau, do me a favor and walk off the plane with me." And I said, "Sure, we're pals, of course." So the plane lands, everybody gets off, Keith grabs his fur coat and his cane, and we're last off the plane. And as we're walking down the terminal, I said, what's going on? And he said, "Well, whenever I travel, somebody sees me get on a plane, and they put the word out to Stones fans that Keith is on flight such and such, headed for New York, and inevitably there's going to be people out there waiting for me that want an autograph. So he goes, I'm happy to do that, but just scoot me through the line." I said, "Sure, that's fine." So lo and behold, we're heading to the terminal, and here's about 15 people all holding guitars for him, and Sharpies for him to autograph. So Keith walks up to the first one, and he shakes hands, and "How you doing?" And he's signing, and he's taking the next guitar and signing. And we get down to the last person, and I look over his shoulder, and I see that he's signing the guitar, but he's not signing his name, he's signing my name. So I kind of whisk him away and head him towards his driver. I said, "What are you doing?" And he says, "Those people don't care about me. They're not a fan of the Rolling Stones. They're people who want my autograph so that they can sell it on eBay." He goes, "So I figure, screw them. I travel, and I find someone like you, and I ask them to come off the plane with me like I did with you, and whoever I happen to be standing with, that's the name I sign." So somewhere out there, there's a handful of people that swear to their friends that Keith Richards actually signed their guitar, and for some reason, in indelible marker pen, it says Beau Phillips. So to those people, I say, you can't always get what you want, you get what you need. But I became a fan of the wisdom of Keith Richards because this is a man who still lives with the fountain of youth. He's still a guy that has all the passion and all the charisma and all the enjoyment of life that you could possibly want, and he looks like hell. But there's a magical spirit about Keith Richards that was really extraordinary, and he is truly someone that is forever young, at least on the inside. Keith turned 72 on Saturday. So what's the lesson here? The lesson to me is to stay forever young. Steve Jobs says that he liked to hire people that were infected. People who are infected with passion, people who couldn't wait to come to work and to be able to work on the next product. these artists that I'm talking about and the ones that I wrote about in my book are people that were infected. They were passionate. They were totally engaged. They created music that spoke to your heart and your body and your mind. And they created an escape. They made an emotional connection. And I thought it was fitting to kind of wrap up this segment with another genius message from Keith Richards, who really says it correctly. You know, he's not here to make records. He's here to say something and to move other people. And I think that generation and the music of that generation just really was built to do that.